heard of Sigmund Freud?
No.
Guy, cocaine fiend.
Actually, that's not true because one time, remember when Nina made me simulate sex with Sigmund Freud's grandson for a short film at NYU?
What? I want you to quell. I'm like in a funky little mood. Like I need assurance. This is going to be a great episode. We're going to have fun. It's going to be good quality content.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I just didn't get enough done today. And
okay, so that's coming from you. That's not from anything I'm doing.
No, you're doing everything right.
Because I'm like, no, I feel nothing, but I'm excited about this episode. Welcome to Stream Queens.
I'm Julia Went.
I'm Erin McKeon.
We are the Bushwick Intellectual Class. We are entertainment professionals, known each other for 10 years, roommates. You got to do it.
Television connoisseurs. And we are talking about... I thought that was going to be kind of a big burp and that it was going to be impressive for the boys. I thought it was going to be a big burp, kind of yeah bro vibes.
Burping for the male gaze.
Yeah, I was kind of burping for the male gaze.
I'm on my bro shit
kind of
this
a
week.
Little girly, little tiny, sweet little burp.
There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can
Everything
do.
I do is so ladylike.
I'm on a bro. Oh, I was on the phone
you're on some bro shit?
tax day. Yeah, you remember when I said to Barb and Beth, I went, "Who's him, bro?" Yeah, they were. Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I know I can't do it because I'm everything feels like a dumpster trash can in my brain. But I think as soon as we start talking about
The Last of Us episode 2.
Yeah. Ooh.
Do you even want to talk about it? Because I'm mad. I don't want to talk about it. I kind of it's making me mad that we did this show. I'm so angry. Upset about episode 2.
So should we cancel this dang invitation to Craig Mazin? Is that his name?
I don't know. What about Neil something? The other guy?
Is that the because there's the guy that's kind of
there's two guys. The show was created by two guys.
We should have known.
Neither
of them bisexual, I'm assuming.
I don't know who's bisexual or not.
Which I like to, by the way. I like when that information is disclosed.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah.
Yeah, you're mad. You're out or what? We also, again, as the chat is saying, the chat across all platforms that we haven't played the game. We don't know what's going to happen.
We don't know what's going to happen. And we had we were hearing a lot from chat this week more than ever because we've really opened ourselves up to the Last of Us community, the community of gamers. And y'all have stuff to say. Y'all were commenting. Y'all were trying to ruin some stuff for me, but
a bunch of actually type bros.
A bunch of some people were kind of being some people got a real kick out of the fact that we didn't know what was going to happen because we haven't played the game. Other people were telling us we literally shouldn't watch the show if we haven't played the game.
Which feels
ridiculous. And then other people, though, what a lot of the comments were, which fuck y'all, but also cute, because I appreciate no one really spelled out exactly what was going to happen for me, but a lot of kind of golf references, golf emojis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of gifs of golfers. I know you're not into reading comments, but I love it. And we got all the comments were golf is coming for you, whether you like golf or not.
Ew.
Yeah.
We summoned people with golf. But that's the thing, when you talk about community, we want our show and our comments to be a place for people to meet up, to communicate,
yeah, of course.
And
they were fighting in the comments this week.
And I will say
what are you doing with the laptop? Did you see this vape?
I need this display setting to be so it doesn't turn off so I can know what happens the whole time.
Okay, but you have to see this vape that I had to get in Kansas City because I didn't have my brand. Watch it.
It has little pictures. Does it change every time?
No, it's a fire.
It's the carburetor?
Yeah, it's the carburetor. It's on boost mode.
Pics.
But yeah, chat was really mad this week, and some people were, again, it was a lot of disagreement in the chat on whether the validity of us even watching the show without knowing what's going to happen.
That, by the way, that's called dramatic irony.
Yeah.
Where you as the audience know something that the characters don't know. You should be excited that you get that treat.
Yeah, because we're not going to find out. I'm not going to Google what happens. I don't want to know.
No, I don't want to know.
Keep watching it as we go along.
It never would have occurred to me that that half of the series franchise is going to die.
Yeah, I did know that, but it was again, the comments were just kind of leaning that way for me. And I kind of knew it was going to have something to do with golf.
Right.
So I did kind of put some of those pieces together because of chat, which was fine because I still didn't know how it was going to go down. But I have a lot of feelings of how it's going to go down, but I want to address one more thing that was pointed out by chat. You know how we classically mix up actor name, character name?
Yeah, we're kind of shifting between them.
Yeah, when we were calling Abby Caitlin Dever,
yeah,
we got several comments pointing out that in particular that's a problem to do with this character because the actress who played Abby in the video game got like so many death threats, like kind of like life ruined vibes, like really fucked up because people so associated the video game actress with the character of Abby, who's for obvious reasons incredibly disliked.
Right.
And that it was like really like affecting.
Okay,
and so this community seemed to be aware of this, and then they were like, no, it's really important to separate. Abby is not Caitlin Dever.
I'm like, why are we're being admonished for slipping between character and actor? Y'all don't even know what's a video game and what's a movie.
Okay, that's true, but I don't think they were actually admonishing as much as kind of I felt when I was receiving those comments, more like led into a discourse that I didn't know was happening, because there's a lot of discourse around Caitlin Dever being casted as Abby, which is why it made sense to me that at the end of the episode this week they spent a long time talking about why they casted Caitlin Dever as Abby, because a lot of people are very unhappy with her as a casting choice, just as they were with Bella Ramsey. But it's
sounds like y'all hate femme presenting people who appear to be men.
Well, of course they do, but also it's because a significant trait of Abby in the video game is that Abby is muscular as fuck, like huge buff woman.
Okay.
I actually think, and at first I was like, okay, when I'd seen this kind of discourse, I was like, sure, whatever. Right. But the idea was she'd spent those 5 years training to meet Joel, and that her being buff was a big part of like this character development, that she had like been obsessively kind of training for this moment. And it also, I think,
yeah, please.
Well, I was at first disagreeing with chat because I was like, I don't think that matters as much as y'all
think
it does.
We can represent that in different ways.
We can represent strength in different ways and plotting in different ways. But what I will say is whenever we're with Abby and her gang, the Wolf Pack,
right?
I will say,
is that what we're gonna call them, the Wolf Pack?
Well, there's a wolf logo on their bags.
Oh my gosh! Finally, they needed a team name because
I don't know what I think there's different thing, but I'm going with Wolf Pack because they got the wolf logo.
Yeah.
But they all follow Abby in a way that I'm like, when Abby is so scrawny and tiny, I'm kind of like it's similar to what we were saying about Kat last week. I'm like, not really presenting a lot of natural leadership abilities. I'm like, why is she the leader of this group? She's like,
why are these fucking people?
Why are you following her?
Yes, not just following her, but like kowtowing, whatever. Just like, I'm like, y'all
listen to her blindly and tuck your tail between your legs.
They're and in fact, y'all are disagreeing with her,
which I think makes more sense. Which I think happens in the game, but because Abby is in the game, an incredibly strong, intimidating, physical strength person, that everyone kind of tucking their tails when she speaks has to do with her.
Because she could fuck you up.
Because she could fuck you up
with one
swing immediately.
Yeah. Right.
And so Caitlin Dever being on the scrawnier side, I do see how to me, the only thing it's impacting is not her arc, her training prepared Joel. Like, I got all of that. But it is the way the other people are scared of her in her group. I'm like, now why are you scared of her?
Do you think they should have done it like old school, like Hollywood, where they made her stand really close to the camera and everyone else really far from the camera, so she looks like Godzilla?
I think they should have given her more time to train, because she doesn't need to be that much bigger. I think she should have I wish she had 6 months to kind of like protein max and strength train and get some cut definition that we can see.
And what was her scheduling conflict?
She had one. I don't know, but I know she was a later addition to casting in some ways, and that she
I'm excited to hear as we go what you think of Miss Dever's performance. And when you talk about motivation, I do find that really interesting. We open at the cabin, what you call it, a cabin? It is a cabin.
The lodge.
Yeah, the lodge at the lodge campsite with her and the wolf pack.
Yeah.
And to your point, I'm immediately like, wait, her motivation makes sense. We know that we have a dead dad after the little flashback. We knew that there was a family tie. Yeah. But then it is a little bit like, well, why is everyone else here? Why are you all with her?
With her, right.
Yeah, and / like, y'all want to kill Joel that bad? Why do y'all want to kill Joel?
That's what I also don't understand. And I think the whole show is presenting a lot of questions about, in this world, right, in this post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
there's a baseline acceptance of like killing people for your family, right? For the people who are you in your group, right? Because it's like what Gail said in the last episode. Like, it's not that you killed him. It's how you did it. And that seems to matter a lot in this world, because I don't know that Abby, right? She understands killing people. All of these other people understand killing people. What seemed to upset her the most was that her dad was an unarmed doctor and
he had a little scalpel, and he said, "We're never going to let you take her." I'm like,
yeah, you're only getting half the story.
Right. Oh, sure. Not only half the story, but I'm a little bit like, yeah, I don't know. And a couple different things. I'm like, I wish I had, we don't do guests. I wish that I could have all the information of like, I want to have somebody who maybe has played the video game. I want to have somebody who knows like the structure of video game. Like one thing Jane mentioned, secret number is 143.
143. Oh, shut up. You're such a stupid bitch.
I know. Secret.
Fine, Jane. Secret number is 143.
Yeah, it was like the lack of motivation is a little bit video game character-y. Like they don't really do a video game story, which they don't all super have well-defined motivations, which I found to be interesting. And that's the other thing where I wish I knew what was the distinction between like video game story, what was not video game story.
I actually have some insight into this.
Please.
I have a good deal of insight.
Like you're coming in. The other thing I want to know about is like Greek epics and odysseys, because similarly, like where there are just certain codes and rules, to your point, that are understood within the world. This feels very that, right? Revenge is a big motivator. The Walton Gognification father.
Vengeance of avenging your father yet again.
Right.
Y'all are obsessed.
I'm interested in that. And then, I also read a thing, as we talk about motivation, we're also talking about morals. We touched a lot on last time is the, I didn't super check up on these people's credentials, is that some virologist, which it's fungus, not virus.
Sure.
But they were like, yeah, cutting open that girl's brain, that wasn't going to save anybody.
That's what I said.
Yeah, that's what you said in a way that I was like, okay, so this actually complicates the whole problem.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I know that's what you said. I needed somebody.
A virologist to come in and say that, because I'm like, I don't think that's the best way to do it. And I don't know shit about shit, but I have a woman's intuition, and I knew that wasn't going to work.
And
I'm like, surprised Marlene didn't know that wasn't going to work.
Right. Well, and then to your point, fucking Caitlin Devers' fuck ass dad.
Yeah, like I'm just like, y'all were making a bad decision trying to kill Ellie for the brain surgery, because I'm like, you're gonna get more out of her, and she would have been a really willing participant in keeping her alive and running some experiments on her.
Yeah, they were like, we need bone marrow.
Her brain,
no,
it's crazy, because I'm like, there's a bunch of different ways to kind of. She's of more use to you the longer you have to research her. You're going to immediately kill the only immune person. What if it doesn't work when you take her fucking brain out?
Well, and that's kind of these scientists' claim was like, look, like that's not how you develop a vaccine.
Exactly. You just need more time.
Which to the point, I'm like, Caitlin, like, why are you so mad about your dad? Like, he's not a hero. He's just also a dad. And the fact he was misguided as well.
I agree. But some insight into the video game. So here's what I've learned. So in the game, you play from Ellie's perspective.
Yeah.
And you go in on the scene where we see Ellie in the lodge, seeing Joel get his head bashed in. And you, in the game, you're playing as Ellie, and you witness that.
At what point? Like, what do you mean you go in on?
Like, you're playing as Ellie, you're on your patrol, you're running from some infected, Yeah. You go find Joel in the lodge. Okay. And you see Joel getting killed by Abby and these people. You don't know anything. You don't know who these people are.
Oh, so at this point in the game, you've only been playing as Ellie.
Yeah. And you don't know Abby's backstory. What happens is at some point, the game mode switches and you have to start playing as Abby. And it takes a long time to develop. You don't learn why Abby killed Joel for a long time. It takes a long time to develop that backstory of the doctor and everything. Like, you don't really know who she is or who these people are and why they want to kill Joel for a long time in the game. And so what the show did was try to give you this context before by like starting with them. You know they're the Fireflies. You know, in the game you don't know any of that. They're just random people.
Do you follow them at all in the video game, or no? You've been on Ellie's narrative the whole time.
I think maybe a little bit. You know, these people are coming, or at some point, or at some point you play as Abby, but you then start to learn the backstory. And I actually think it may have been more. I see why they made the choice. They were like, oh, that's not going to work for TV. We need to know the backstory before she makes this move, or you're not going to understand what's going on.
Right.
My thought after Joel's death in this episode was like, whoa, I actually think maybe y'all should have done it more like the game, because at this point in the narrative, I already know Abby's whole backstory and I know her whole thing. Yeah. And I'm not that interested. And I know we're about to go into her perspective, and I don't really care because y'all already told me why she did this. I kind of already get her whole character. I get she's this foil to Ellie. I get that her dad died at 19 and she watched it and that radicalized her. And then now Ellie, the same thing has happened. And I get these are kind of twin flame characters. But now we're going to follow Abby's story. And I'm like, I wish we'd left more for me to discover about Abby and that I didn't understand her whole motivation before she did this. Like, I think that could have been more successful to follow the game model.
That is really interesting. Yeah. About what you're willing to forgive or accept. And like, rather than... I can see how, to your point, and I was trying to play that out too. If I just saw and was mad that this character took this action, I would be pissed. And then to have to go and learn her backstory, I might be able to like forgive her more than
than giving her backstory up at the front. And now I know her backstory and I still don't.
And I don't find it that sympathetic anyway.
I'm still
and
mad.
The last thing I saw was her kill Joel, not the most recent thing I saw being like her going on this journey that I also had to be like first person embodied as. And attached that way to show up to this moment. No, I'm not really.
Yeah, I'm not really now. I don't want to play you. I'm mad at you. I don't
and
like
they're
what
talking
you did.
about the, the twin flame, the connection, similarities between Ellie and Abby. I, based on what you just said, am certainly noticing some parallels or similarities between Abby and Pedro Pascal Joel.
Totally.
Because in season 1, his daughter was killed, and that radicalized him to ultimately kill what we learned to be 18 Fireflies, a whole bunch of people.
Right.
And he just purported the same thing that's wrong, but like it did that to set the cycle for Abby to be on her shit. Right. And then she just did the fucking thing that happened to her, which was kill Joel in front of
Ellie.
And so now what? Like onward and forever?
Well, yeah, that's
what we want?
The cycle of violence, right? And it's just going to continue like this. This episode was in many ways very Game of Thrones, right? Like in multiple ways, which is that they shot the battle sequences very similarly. The horde of zombies is very similar to the White Walkers, and they also have a wall, and they do very similar the whole battle sequence where they're dropping the fire off of the walls.
Oh yeah, those little slides were making me nervous.
Yeah, like all of that's all very Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones is very much about they talk often about the concept of this wheel of power, right? That like there's some characters who want to break the wheel, right? They want a better world. Other people just want to come out on top, right? And they want to have the power, but that the wheel keeps kind of spinning. And I feel like these cycles of kind of violence that are going through Joel, Ellie, Abby, these characters, it's like, we're just seeing this wheel kind of keep on turning and who's going to end up with power in this world. But it seems like nobody is a character who's trying to kind of make the world a better place necessarily.
Story cycle, plant cycle, that's crazy. And then
cordyceps cycle.
Well, that's what I mean by plant love. This is the only pro cordyceps podcast. Like,
no, I'm definitely
y'all.
pro cordyceps. Like, love y'all. I thought the bloater in this episode was really beautiful.
Thick thighs, thick hips, thick ass, my type of girl.
Yeah, like I was into her. Like she was just like so big and scary, and I wanted to touch her so bad. When I saw her kind of burning, I was like, God, I just want to know what that feels like.
Jane was like, oh, I bet that smelled good.
Yeah,
the burning mushroom.
Totally. I'm so interested in the cordyceps.
But yeah, Tommy has a big leadership role within the community at the Jacksonville,
because he's the only one left.
Well, that was something that occurred to me this week. Was like, holy cow, this guy is a big leader.
Yeah,
telling people what to do with the prepping people for the emergency, giving commands on what to do with the patrol out and about in the world.
Yep.
I loved. Oh, did you get a sense from our video game correspondents whether or not that siege on the Jacksonville settlement happens in the video game?
Yeah, I did, because this actually brings me to exactly my next point, which is that no, it does not happen.
Right.
In
Interesting.
The game.
Really?
And I found that it's not to say there's never a swarm on it, but it's not happening. It's not the way we are intercutting between the swarm on Jackson and Joel's death at the lodge. Not how the game goes.
Right.
You are, when you're in the game, you are completely with the Joel Ellie storyline, and it is supposedly heartbreaking. Like, you cry. Everybody who plays the game cries when you see Joel die, which I found, obviously I'm a big Joel head, always have been. I didn't cry, and I think it's because I'm very overstimulated when you're cutting from epic battle to Joel's death, and I kind of felt like that was a little bit, from a writer's perspective, to me, I'm like, that was a little bit of a disservice to the death of a beloved character to kind of intercut him with this big battle, because I'm like, whoa, I'm really in high adrenaline right now, and so Joel's death is losing a little bit of and I didn't have much, because we had to prepare for battle and all these things. I didn't have much time to just kind of see Joel being Joel this episode. Like, you want to, before you lose a character like that, you want to kind of fall in love with him again. And like, we did get the moment where we saw Ellie was gonna forgive him. Obviously, like, they were gonna have the talk and then didn't ever get to. And that is sympathetic, but I haven't gotten, even in episode 1, because we had Joel in kind of sad dad mode.
Oh my God,
you
really don't see these people together.
The love that I have for Joel, I didn't get to see it on display so much. I mean, I guess there is a little bit of it. He pulled the classic Joel move in saving Abby. Right? Like, that was classic Joel to be helpful, which, dug his own grave there. But also I noticed too, like, Joel going into that house, like, I'm like, ooh, 5 years in Jackson made Joel a little bit soft, because season 1 Joel would never immediately trust 5 armed strangers, and he walked in and thought he was the leader. Okay, get right, we're out in 3 minutes. And I was like, Joel, you didn't even, this isn't your style either. Like, you are a genuinely distrustful person. I've never seen you trust anybody in the world who's not Ellie.
This is a lot of switch marks.
I'm like, you got
this is really
to show up and like
analysis and criticism.
I mean, immediately just like think you're the leader of this group and not really vet any of these people because she just looks like a kid to you. I'm like, yo, Joel, you forget your street smarts because you've been tinkering with too many electronic toys with Dina?
Right, or are you in the heat of passion of seeing the entire settlement burn? But to your point, being in that space, like, guard down. That's a really interesting point. Yeah, just completely trusting on the saving Abby portion, and perhaps this goes toward ideas and cycles, her being like, what life?
Well, I have a response to what life, because my thought immediately was, I was like, what life? I don't know. What about your life here, the same life everybody, your life with these little friends you've been training with for vengeance, and that guy who's obviously in love with you, like your little boyfriend. Like, I'm like, and also I heard from Peter said in the video game, boyfriend character is like very different, is like very much like this military intense guy who, where in this show we had him kind of trying to get Abby to back off a little bit, and was like, just put him out of his misery.
It's very boy next door.
It was not that in the game. This guy's militant, like, just fucking do it, like, now, like, dude, like, it's more of a like commanding and kind of like ruthless perspective, whereas this guy's definitely kind of like simp vibes, simping for Abby.
Everyone is simping
for Abby again in a way where I'm like, she's not very intimidating.
I liked the little girl who injected with the lady who injected Dina.
Sweet.
She was acting, stealing the show for me, giving the resistance to what Abby was doing. I wonder if that's going to come back and bite Abby in the ass, where though we didn't see any sort of pushback or mutiny this time, if over time we see somebody like the heartthrob lady be like, Abby, this is enough.
Well, because it probably is too. I was thinking about with her little boyfriend too, because I was like, oh, like, how much do you love this? It's cool to watch that girl kind of train and have this vengeance in her heart and like get ready for stuff, but you just watched her beat a guy to death with a fucking golf club. You want to fuck her?
Well, maybe. For real. I will. Oh, on the switching between, I think that is such a good point of going from the big intensity adrenaline of the battle and cutting between Joel and feeling robbed of the intimacy, feeling robbed of that moment is, we haven't seen Joel in a long time. The closest we get to the relationship, to your point, is some lip service from Ellie of like, what we have is complicated, but it's always like it's him and me. And that doesn't, I love the way you put that, make us fall in love with the character again. Plus we lose that fucking, we get from, I'm gonna Caitlin Dever teasing him, like punching his little leg slit to he's almost dead. Yeah, well, we cut away and cut back.
So that also I've heard in the game. So you know how she kind of puts him out of his misery?
Oh my God, you sound like the chat.
I know, I sound like chat, but I just learned a lot about the game today. Because I was very upset about this episode, so I really needed to consult the game players because I'm like, and no one, thank God, the game players are very respectful and aren't telling me what's next. But they're like, I'm like, up till this point, like, how is the game different?
Yeah.
And so a big thing in the game, it's all golf club. His entire death, you watch him get beat to death
for a long
with the
time.
golf club for a long time, and that when she takes the broken golf club and sticks it in his neck doesn't happen in the game. The final blow is a blow to the head with the golf club. And that I imagined, I was like, I feel like that's maybe just HBO standards and practices was like, hey, we can do a lot of death here, we can do a lot of gun stuff, we can do a lot of that kind of thing, but something about watching Pedro Pascal get beat to death with a golf club, I feel like HBO just said like, nah, you can't shoot that.
I want those people there too, because production also had to sign off. If that battle wasn't in the game, how fucking much money and time was that whole ass battle?
I bet a lot.
That shit was crazy.
Yeah, it was really nuts. The battle was, but it was really cool. Tommy is definitely a really great leader.
Yes.
Because he was prepared, and also like every great man, there's a great woman behind him because whose
name is Maria. I found out the honorable
chairwoman, Tommy's wife.
Tommy's wife is Maria.
Honorable councilwoman, Tommy's wife Maria.
Yes.
She was like, let's stick to the plan. And I'm like, yeah, stick to the plan. Like, and I love to see a plan work. I love to see preparedness. I love to see people know where they're supposed to go, hit their
preparation meets opportunity. That's
absolutely luck. And they got lucky. They stopped. They breached, but they saved most people. They really did really well with what was a very difficult situation with a lot of infected headed their way.
That was absolutely nuts. I cannot imagine that situation. That was a good reminder too for me, somebody who can get swept up in my own confidence in an apocalypse zombie scenario. Some shit's gonna fall away. I might not be so good at being Caitlin Dever or being at the settlement. Holy shit.
Yeah, really tough. I'm definitely, I guess I don't know where I am, because I think like I my immediate instinct is like I'm in the basement with the women and children, but another part of me is like, I don't know. I think I definitely got some fire in me that I think is faced with an apocalypse scenario. I'm like, I don't know. I might end up being kind of a Dina type baddie character. Like I'm like, I could see myself really stepping up to the plate on some patrols, because like I am a good shooter. I'm a really good shot, and I do think I have a strong survival instinct and a sense of adventure, and those are all things that make you a really good fighter in a world like The Last of Us.
Right. And I love adventurer. You're an adventurer.
Yeah, I like an adventure.
And there is one of the standout moments from season 1 was the idea of people being placed in like people's purpose being to protect.
Yeah.
In the settlement scenario, having a responsibility, like protecting the community, that would give me purpose. That's what these people are feeling.
I think you'd be a great council person, like leadership in the community.
Oh my gosh. And then when the time comes, it's like, yeah, let's be having our guns. I was appreciated, though there were some people who kind of you use the word deserter, the little flamethrower brigade.
Yeah, when two of the flamethrowers deserted Tommy.
Which is tough because there's only 4 flamethrowers. We really need people on flamethrower.
We really needed all 4 flamethrowers. And we also, my thing about that, like I was thinking about being a deserter, right? Running away from the fight. And I was like, well, what are you going to do? Because other representations of deserters we've seen on TV, the most famous is, of course, Don Draper, who deserted and then took on a new identity and moved to New York and became an advertiser.
Right.
That's not an option for these people. You're going to wake up in the settlement tomorrow and everybody saw you run.
And you're not going to be any social capital, any political capital.
Well, and what is their punishment? That's a question. I'm like, and where does the settlement go? Because I'm like, if we're in kind of
what are they going to do to fucking rebuild?
Right, because we got to rebuild, but also the deserters in that case. I'm like, I have a feeling Jackson is a pretty forgiving settlement, but there's other kinds of worlds like this where those people get hung in the town square, because it's like you can't. You do have to have a sense of fear. It's Hunger Games. I was watching obviously Hunger Games. Yeah. But I'm like, you do there. It's fear, right? And I'm like, how do you prevent people from being deserters like that?
Well, and fear is as a mechanism for control. What you're talking about, right, is control,
right? Which
we see earlier in the apology between Seth and Bella Ramsey's Ellie.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how do you, like, social friction is, bad for the community.
Yeah.
And everyone overall. And as opposed to, like, fear, shame, other punishment, it's like, no, everyone really does need to get along, because it's small enough that
right.
It's also the only time something like direct democracy could probably even have a chance. Like, it's that level.
Yeah.
But shame, social pressure, stigma doesn't really fucking mean anything when here come these guys, and to your point, you ran away. Like,
well, you ran away, and also because it's like in the Hunger Games, they tell you the only thing stronger than fear is hope.
Love.
And my thing is, well, now the town's a little burnt. We got a lot of dead bodies in the street.
Yeah,
we lost a lot of people. How much hope do we have? Maybe we might need to call on some fear to keep us going. I don't know.
You think? Oh, that's a great point.
That's what I'm wondering.
And if I were to do some dissent, did they sprinkle anything where it appeared that anyone within the community was like feeling not so represented or interested in the leadership around Jacksonville?
I haven't seen that. No, I haven't seen that evidenced yet.
Because now would be a good time for that person to kind of be like,
start stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, and be like, I think things are really upsetting. Like, we need a new direction.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But I don't know, but it was again a very successful battle on Tommy and the honorable chairwoman Tommy's wife Maria's part.
That they won.
They did a fabulous job leading that group to safety, and I thought it was really well done. And can we talk about the cordyceps?
I was hoping you would ask that, because I'm so interested in the mechanics of the cordyceps. Like, I wish I knew everything. Maybe that's another area I might really thrive, is in a learning everything about the cordyceps type way. Like, I could be like a wacky, like, weird Barbie in my little tower being like, I know everything about cordyceps
and become your special interest.
Yeah, my special interest. And maybe like everyone's like, you're like, why do you have this little cordyceps plant? And I'm like, I like cordyceps. Like, if we don't understand, if we don't live and respect cordyceps, like that's going to be our demise.
I feel like you also could be be in a really strong partnership with your sibling Henry.
Yeah. I'd be selling, he'd be selling cordyceps merch.
Well, he'd be drawing it too. Like, you could be kind of learning stuff about cordyceps, and he could be doing kind of really detailed drawings of stuff you've observed about cordyceps, and like learn things via that way. Like, I feel like you could be a really unexpected kind of duo to really kind of figure it out, and probably in a better way than just taking out Ellie's brain. Like, I feel like maybe you could really learn something with the cordyceps.
And so here's then my next question, right, is for you, I'm interested, like you said, let's talk about cordyceps, and I do want to hear everything that you have to say about cordyceps. I was wondering, when we were at first in the lodge campsite, they're turning shit on, they're making noise in there. They don't really seem to care so much as we did when we were not in Wyoming and in the snow about cordyceps hearing. Like, why are cordyceps not like front of mind?
I think maybe we're just a lot better at killing cordyceps, and I think we've learned over time that actually it's other humans that seem to be more dangerous and difficult.
Is it okay? Great. Like, is it a temperature issue too?
I don't know because I have a lot of questions about cordyceps, which are okay. So I get there's a ton of infected under the snow. Why are they waking up? What made them wait? What about Caitlin Dever falling down that hill woke up all the cordyceps underneath the ground? And also why, like, it seems really cold. Why aren't they frozen to death? Does freezing not affect cordyceps? Like, where are they coming from? I don't understand why all those infected are underneath the snow and still alive.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I wish I knew the lore, the logic, of how the cordyceps work. For example, the big baddie cordyceps.
Yeah.
To me, that felt very video game boss.
Totally.
Of like, it needs to be bigger because it needs to be a bigger boss. But in the way that like our cordyceps are getting smarter, their ability to survive in lots of different ways. I was gathering, okay, temperature, especially extreme cold, inhospitable to the cordyceps.
Well, you would think that, but then
that's why they use insulation. They were like, they're using the old bodies as insulation.
But we're in a blizzard. It's colder than ever. So why are they waking up? I get that. I get, okay, they're getting frozen under the, right? Like they're maybe dormant in kind of a freezing situation. But I'm like, it's a really cold day today. It's a blizzard. Everyone's saying they're going to die if they're outside more than 20 minutes. Why did the cordyceps wake up? I don't understand. I would get it if they were melting. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I get it if the snow started melting and the cordyceps started coming back.
Well, because they got touched on. Their little nerves, right?
Oh, that's all it takes?
Because remember, like, if there's any sort of, that's what calls them in season 1 a bunch of times. Like, if you touch any part of the cordyceps, it touches the monster. Yeah, like whatever that core connector is, like that connection. And that's what we see inside the settlement, too, when they tap that root, like that's just a tendril of the larger organism.
Okay, well, that's a question I have for you too.
Yeah.
So you can only catch cordyceps by biting, right?
Yeah.
So what's going to be the effect of cordyceps in the pipes?
Well, the immediate impact is that was the nerve ending that drew all those cordyceps to the settlement.
Oh.
Yeah, it touched its nerve.
Oh. Okay, got it. So actually, they might have woken up because of the smashing of the cordyceps in Jackson, not necessarily because of Caitlin Dever's fall. Those things just happened to happen at the same time.
I think it was both.
Yeah.
The way that, because Caitlin Dever woke up that initial little pot because she touched on the old bodies. Yeah, that would have had the shock reverberation.
Yeah. But they headed towards the settlement because of the pipe.
It finally got touched. And so that was my question, is like, not just the temperature, but how long, like how often do they quote unquote need to eat, right? Because that explains why they're up, is regardless of whether it's cold, if you're needing food as an organism, you're going to have to get up regardless of the cold, like you're at threat.
Right.
But then to that point, I'm like, what, like 1 or 2 hikers every once in a while is going to be enough to like give you thousands, like support thousands of mobile ass cordyceps.
Right.
I don't know. That was the part for me.
Isn't this like there's some kind of in nature, there's some kind of, I don't know if it's a fungal parasite or an animal parasite that I can't remember what animal it happens. I think it happens to like frogs or something. There's some kind of animal that does turn into a literal zombie.
It's ants and it's cordyceps.
Got it. Wait, literally?
It's literally cordyceps.
Oh, it's literally cordyceps and ants. Like that's kind of maybe where this whole concept was born.
Yeah, like zombie.
Wait, can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so I
zombie ants. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And the cordyceps grows inside their brain.
Yep.
And then it is uses the form of the ant to repopulate. What's the word?
Right. I don't know.
Grow. It's the thing that allegedly all life wants to do.
Reproduce?
Yeah, reproduce. So it uses that to get to feed itself, so that it can then respawn and spawn further.
Oh my God! Great.
And that's
what the cordyceps are doing.
That's what cordyceps are doing with people. And then, like the cutaway scene in the first season is, a flash back to the 70s, them being like, no, cordyceps that we see with ants couldn't happen to humans because the temperature for bodies isn't hospitable enough.
Oh, interesting.
But with global warming,
they could
evolve to go into humans. Okay. And again, whether that science tracks all the way, but that is the logic of this, which also makes me think that there's clearly some correlation between temperature and cordyceps health.
Okay.
which is why the fire
Okay.
seems to work as well.
Right. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Did we get to have any fun this episode, or was it all just trauma and Joel in a body bag being dragged through snow?
It was so funny as I was getting ready for the pod and you were rewatching and hear the episode. It was just a lot of it was just sound. So not a lot of fun at all.
I think the only fun we got to have was Seth's apology, and I'm not gonna lie, it was weird to see Bart Bass in the kitchen.
Bart Bass.
Bart Bass would never work in the kitchen, but it did get me thinking. I'm like, okay, if you're Bart Bass, billionaire CEO, and you didn't get pushed off the roof by your son Chuck and his wife Blair, and you survived to the apocalypse, like, could you end up working in the kitchen? Maybe.
Well, and kitchen can be, as we see in Orange is the New Black, kitchen, depending on the environment, can be a
very
really
powerful. You're right.
Coveted position.
Coveted, even, yeah.
I'm like, I don't know where he got steak, for example.
Yeah, good question.
But he was feeding Ellie
steak sandwiches.
One thing I will, talk about fun or not fun.
Yeah.
I was devastated to, through this episode, find out that there will be no more dynamics, flirtation
between Dina and Joel.
I
know. All we're gonna leave on is that, because you just know the whole time. Like, I'm like, oh God, had Joel not let Ellie sleep and taken that patrol with Ellie, which was expressed from Jesse that he did want to patrol with Ellie, and Ellie wanted to patrol with him. Had they patrolled together, obviously there's a million different ways it could have gone down. It could have all ended in the same way. However,
sliding doors, I'm told. Yeah,
I think things would have been somehow different if Dina didn't take that patrol with Joel that morning.
I mean,
because also I think part of Joel's why he made so many mistakes, like immediately trusting Abby and like going to Lodge, was because he was so focused to get back, because he's thinking about Ellie's like he's just
or Tommy for sure,
sure. But I'm like, if Ellie was with him, I think he's acting different because he's protecting Ellie in the moment in a way that I don't think he has that for Dina quite yet.
No. Oh God.
I hated that Joel's last words were like some version of "just fucking do it already."
Good point though. I was really like, she was getting on my fucking nerves with her
like,
little
shut
monologue.
Up and just do it. Yeah, I don't want to hear it.
No, but again, bizarre where you've got all these people kind of being like, are we gonna do it? Are we not gonna do it? Did her little speech do anything for you? The code of ethics, and some things are just fucking wrong.
No, because you didn't. I see, and we see this a lot. We saw this in White Lotus. We see this a lot with the Avenge Your Father narrative, which is, if you have something to say to someone just for you just want to say it, like, why do you not want to hear what he has to say back?
Right.
Why don't you want to let him speak? Don't you want to know why? Because I'm just like, and also with both of them too, because I'm like, I get that he's in this position where it's like, he already knows he's probably not leaving here, and so like, fuck it, why even try? But I'm like, I don't know. Remember how these people heard about Ellie but don't believe the rumors are true? What if I'm just like, I'm so anti-war, pro-diplomacy, because it's like, let's have allies, not enemies. Let's make allies, not enemies, because like, could we not have had a conversation of like, hey, I understand I killed your unarmed father, like, so sorry about that. However, he was about to kill the only living immune person for a surgery that wouldn't even have worked. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, can we talk about why we do what we do instead of just kind of going for the kill all the time?
Like these big actions.
I'm naive. Obviously, the answer is no, but that's...
Well, why?
Why
I think that's a really great point. Well, that's not a video game. That's maybe a book.
Right, maybe that's a book and not a video game.
Yeah.
But this is a TV show, and we're taking liberties with stuff like adding in the therapist character. So I think let's feel free to add some other liberties. You know what I mean? Like, we can change things for TV.
I really needed Gail this episode.
I'm excited to see more of her. I'm excited to see more of Jesse, who we've established. Ellie had a line in this episode at the weed shop. She said,
love Jesse.
And she was like, everybody knows you're going to be in charge of the settlement one day, but that day is not today.
Love it.
And I'm like, can't wait to see kind of Jesse rise to power. He also had a funny line in the beginning about the kiss. He's like, what? You kissed Dina? Just kidding. I already know about that.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit.
Bro.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all kissed Dina.
Everyone here has kissed Dina.
Like, chill out.
Well, yeah. Good morning.
Yeah.
We got stuff to do.
Yeah. Welcome to the club. Let's go.
I will just if violence begets violence, I do think that peace begets peace, and therefore the only way to break the cycle is to act different. And had you kind of drew or took issue with Caitlin, Dever, Abby, what life Well, now you don't get to go hang out in that settlement. You could have had a home. Now you got to get. Now you're not just like a pariah. You're also. Now we're gonna have to watch Bella chase your ass down. Come on.
Well, and it's what you said at the beginning too, just about dramatic irony and us as the audience knowing stuff that the characters don't know, because we get.
It's nice for us to be chat for once.
It's nice for us to be chat for once, and we get to watch the show and go, damn, if y'all could only know the information we all know, things might be different. But that's not how it happens.
I will say on the topic of our performers, and I don't prefer to be kind of watching with a critical eye to catch anybody, but I am on a little bit of accent watch for Bella Ramsey.
Oh, interesting. Okay, accent watch.
Yeah, and actors talk about this all the time, where if you're putting on an accent that's different from the way you speak, it's going to falter in the moments you're really fucking dropped in.
The screaming and the watching Joel die. Accent
and they
watch.
did, yeah. We were hearing it in a way that I'm primed and looking for it, which is problematic. Lots of burps this episode.
Yeah, burp city over here.
I think it's an altitude issue.
Yeah. It's allergies. It's the weather.
Oh God, it's the state of things.
Sure is.
When they're screaming, their accent drops. Actually, kind of often, but especially in that Joel scene, Bella's accent's dropping.
Yeah.
And you notice it too in their mouth. Like, it's not just the way it sounds; it's the way that they're holding those words.
And you know what? Accent watch for sure, but also, God damn, these motherfuckers can act.
Oh my God,
Bella, I felt you. Fuck. That was really hard.
Pedro did great too.
Pedro did great.
The things that saved the intimacy
yeah.
and gave it the stakes to that moment, that I agree with you, was not given its writing and storytelling. Like, it couldn't have relied on that because of the intercutting. The actors and the performances sold it, which to that point, I think Caitlin Dever did a great job.
I do too. I think Caitlin Dever is doing a fabulous job. And I do think my last thing on the whole intercutting of everything, I just think this could have been slowed. We could have done a battle in episode 2, and episode 3 we could have really spent at the lodge with this. I would have loved that. Like, I just think we could have paced this down a little bit more, but the fact that they ramped it up so much in episode 2, which really felt like almost a finale, I'm like, all right, well, let's see where we're going next.
Oh gosh, it's got to be
Seems
as
like
big,
y'all are going
right?
crazy. Yeah.
Which I hope that they don't get out over their skis and lose the thing that we're interested in. A little bigger than their britches. And what you and I are always attracted to, which is the fucking dynamics. And those questions of good and bad, or why somebody does something in lines, because it's not really good and bad, but that becomes harder when it's these big moments.
Yep.
Life is in the small moments.
Well, we'll see. We're about to get some really heart-wrenching small moments next week with Ellie kind of looking through Joel's house and shit. It's going to be awful. And so today was really not the most laughs on Stream Queens we've ever had. It's a somber day here.
No, we're flying the flag at half-mast.
Somber day here in Bushwick. So thank you all for watching The Last of Us with us.
You can tell that the community is reacting.
It's tough. This was a hard day, especially for the non-video game players like ourselves. So I just appreciate your grace and generosity as we kind of process this, and we'll be back to laughs next week. I fucking hope.
Yeah, please join us in chat. Let us know some of our more open-ended questions we'd love some information on. We hope that you respect a code of don't spoil. We also
appreciate that. Yeah,
I'm going to put a spoiler alert at the end of the episode. If you haven't seen the episode, watch it, then come back.
You shouldn't have listened to this.
I'm like, after the whole time, we're like, well, he's dead.
He's dead.
It's really. Fuck.
Was that your spoiler? Just he's dead?
Oh, yeah, I don't have any.
Oh, okay. Spoiler alert, Joel's dead.
Yeah, I wish I had shut the fuck up.
Oh, my God. Love you guys. Thanks for listening, chat.
I'm Julia Went.
I'm Erin McKeon.
This is Stream Queens.
Yes.